Good morning, good afternoon. Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining. We're letting everybody kind of file in. We'll start the session here in probably another couple seconds. Hi, Dawn. Perfect. Um,
Yeah.
exactly while we're waiting for everyone to enter, please go ahead and say your habitat you're with and what your role is and what state you're in. Hi, Rick. And you can put that in the chat. Perfect. Okay, well, I think we've got a good amount of people in, and I just wanted to start by saying hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. We're gonna start with the introduction of myself. So my name is Leah Wren, and I'm a nonprofit solution consultant here at Give Effect. I'm so glad to be here for our Habitat for Humanity San Luis Obispo aligned conversation with volunteers, marketing, and fundraising to exceed your goals. But before I start and introduce our guest speaker here, an interviewer, um, or interviewee, I want to go through some brief housekeeping. Um, we've got the chat live, so feel free to put in kind of information. Hi, Leah Jones. Nice to meet you. Good name, by the way. And then for the session, I want to see your reactions, comments, and questions as we go. So you'll be able to put questions in the Q&A icon at the bottom of your Zoom throughout the call, and then we'll get to those questions as we go through at the end of the session. I can't leave out a quick word about Give Effect for those who may not be familiar with us before we dive in. Give Effect is a 10-in-1 nonprofit technology software that helps many Habitat affiliates use uh, use to manage your donors, volunteers, fundraising, events, communications, robust reporting, sweat equity, homeowner applications. I'll just keep going. No, and your team works from a unified system, and you'll hear about some of that today with Colleen. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Today we're joined by Colleen, the programs manager at Habitat for Humanity San Luis Obispo. In her role, Colleen's work spans from programs, volunteering, and marketing. And in the Build With Us campaign, she partnered closely with her director of development to bring all of these pieces together. Today, she'll take us behind the scenes of her Build With Us campaign and event that surpassed their fundraising goals by an incredible 221%. Round of applause. I'm so excited to dig in here. What makes this story so inspiring is how Colleen and her team broke out of silos and aligned across volunteers, marketing, and fundraising to pull together as one team, even with limited time and, of course, small but mighty lean staff. Colleen, thank you so much for being here. Was that a
Yay.
was that a long introduction?
It was a good one. Yeah. I I will say I will not take credit for like how well this did. Like I like not just me, like I Dawn, who is so sweet and watching this right now. Just our whole team, like it really was like a total team effort. I'm just the spokesperson. So I'll give a little pat on the back, but it's really like our whole team. I think a lot of habitats can understand the lean staff situation, and we were in the middle of a CEO transition at the time, so we literally, it was our three full-time admin staff with help from other support from our some other team members, but and then obviously volunteers and things. But yeah, it was t total team effort.
I appreciate that, and I know your team does too because it is a total team effort. It's not a one man show for sure. Um, can you tell us before we dive into kind of some of the questions? share a little bit about you and your role at your habitat and how it's evolved over time.
Yeah, so I started as the marketing and volunteer coordinator, and my background is like hospitality and weddings and events. I have some construction background, worked for like a painting company, so I've done a lot of different things, and I continue to do a lot of different things. I'm now the programs manager with a heavy lean towards development. Like that's kind of a new thing as I'm kind of assist Dawn in our fundraising efforts. But I'm also marketing for the Restore and then volunteers, and we don't currently have a build going on. So trying to get our home preservation, just trying to keep a pulse on all the things that are happening. And I like wearing a lot of different hats. Anyone who has been in event planning, you know that that's sometimes you're bussing dishes at the end of an event, and that's kind of what it is. I feel like at Habitat too is I'm like, well, this has to get done, and I kind of know how to do it, so here we go. We're just gonna keep doing it. And so I think we have a team that's like that in general of just like this has to get done. How do we get it done? Don't care if it's not necessarily my job title, but this is an important thing, and how do we get to that end goal? So
Yep,
yeah,
agree 100%, Colleen. Well, actually, like 200%. It's that all hands, right? People just willing to jump in and dive in
yep,
to whatever area is needed. That's how you know you have a good team.
yep.
And we're gonna dive into some of the questions here.
Mhm.
And I do want to congratulate you on your recent promotion.
Thank you.
Your role shifted from programs manager, but like you said, you've always had your hands in marketing, volunteering, and fundraising, and wearing many hats. Um, of all those hats shaped the way you approach the big campaigns like Build With Us. How has that shaped it for you?
Yeah, I think it just comes from a understanding of every part of your event or every part of your team is so important to get again to that end goal. And it doesn't matter if you are soliciting for volunteers or if you are making the like marketing campaign or if you're trying to get sponsorships, like every single part of that campaign is important. It goes back to the fundamental parts of event planning of like again I think of like bussing a dish like just because you're the lead planner if something needs to get done you need to get it done so everybody's important in the process and wearing a lot of hats and understanding the importance of those hats is huge.
I agree. I do want to ask for an attendee response here because I know that this is pretty much across every nonprofit faces this, and especially Habitat. So post how many roles or what roles you have done throughout your career during your nonprofits or with your Habitat in the comment section, so we can see those come and chime in as we keep going through. Because I know we all get laughs out of that, but. Perfect. So keep those comments coming in and we'll continue on. For those who may not be familiar, can you give a quick snapshot of the Build With Us campaign and what it is, what you set out to achieve, and the results you achieved and its impact? Wow, that was a big, long-winded question there.
Well, I'll start with I've only been a part of Habitat Slow for a year and a half, and you know, I know I don't need to spill the COVID story. Everyone has their COVID, you know, story, but once we started doing this event again, it looked very different than what it did this last year. Um, again, and I know everyone's market is different. Like it San Luis Obispo or SLO County, if you know this area at all in California, we're right between LA and San Francisco. Very small town vibes. We don't fit the cookie cutter fundraising things. However, we still need to ask for money. And in the past, there had been just some hesitation of the ask. And if you don't ask, you're not going to get anything because people don't know that you need it. And so the worst thing they could say is no. And again, I volunteered with some other nonprofits before this, and fundraising again, asking the question of for money. what do you have to offer to get that money? And so the first year that I was there, our event was more of like a, this is what we're doing. Do you want to be part of it? But there wasn't a whole lot of like fundraising. And I kind of came to the table of like, why are we spending all this time basically having a fundraiser without a fundraiser? This doesn't make any sense. If we're putting all this effort in, we need to be having an auction and a silent auction. Like there needs to be things, tangible things. We need to really step this up. Well, okay, it's another 40 hours of effort, and now we have to have try to have an event committee and solicit auction items. But that's really where the success of this event came in, was finally we were asking for money. In the past it wasn't a barbecue. It was still a beautiful event, but it was just like, what's
There
the point of
wasn't,
this?
yeah, there wasn't a lot of ask, so it was just people coming together to celebrate, and if they felt like donating, they would.
Yeah,
But now, like this year, you made it more of a fundraising ask, right?
totally. We had a story to tell finally too. It's like we wrapped up our build. We've had homeowners in the past come and talk, but like our build finished. We were able to have folks come and really share their story and, tug at those heartstrings of like, this is really important. We had a 17-year-old, one of our homeowners' kids come and speak and share his experience. And so,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
huge. It was really
Wow. Yeah,
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
super powerful. So that's a huge part of the reason it was so successful.
And then kind of encompass a little bit about your 221%.
Yeah. So again, the our ticket prices were the same as they were the year before. But it was the auction, and we did, if you guys have never done a cake auction, those are the most fun. And we hired a really great auctioneer. Cannot recommend finding someone who knows what they're doing, because this guy, Cody Dawson, and he travels. So if
Oh,
you need
good.
a good
Okay.
auctioneer, he's from our area. This guy is all about like education and learning like the newest techniques and all these things. I'll give you one snippet. We had one, we did the trips that you can, I'm totally blanking on what they're called, but the trips that you can like purchase. And
Purchase. Yeah, yeah. The pre-purchase. Yeah, like Delta flights
yes, you're
and
going to
yeah. Or
Mexico, you're going,
African safaris. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes. So there was one that didn't meet its goal. Well, he was like, okay, sold number 99. And all of us were like, what number did he just say? What, I'm confused. I don't have that number on my thing. Did you hear that? And so at the end, we were like, Cody, we didn't understand. He's like, oh, it didn't sell. I was like, what do you mean it didn't sell? I heard you say it sold. And he was like, no, he's like, that kills the momentum. We have like a, number in our back pocket that we know isn't really a number. And
Wow.
I'll sell it all day. And so I was like, we all just were so blown away. And then because it was like, okay, next auction item, like keep going. And I can see like from his point of view how that would, totally down your thing. And so I will say that was just so amazing. And we sold a cake for $1,000. Yeah, we
Wow,
had we
wow.
had three beautiful cakes that we just like walked around. I mean, you don't want to have too many options because you want to kind of make it who's got the big guns that's going to come and buy the cake for the table,
Yeah.
and
Oh, for sure.
yeah,
Having
so that
having
was
fun
great.
with it too.
Yeah, exactly. So
I
huge. The
I
auction was
I
big.
know we'll dig into that probably. I think we've got some questions down the way, but that was, I mean, I agree. Like that's one of your key takeaways. We're going to kind of move into breaking down silos
Mhm.
within your team. You said that one of your biggest factors was breaking out of silos. What did that look like to truly align your volunteers' marketing and fundraising on this campaign?
Yeah, so I think for us, again, I do think that we live in a very unique market of where we live, and being able to um, target those people that will be in the room. And I will start with this. Dawn has the background and wherewithal to know like how to sell these tickets to people. In my background, it's like you advertise, you sell your tickets. And maybe that's like a known thing in nonprofit. So if you know this, and it's very elementary, I apologize, but knowing who to have in your room is huge. There's, you can solicit sponsorships all day, but if they don't really care about what you're doing, there's no why are they there? They're not the people that know what you're doing and how important it is way more important than asking like, hey, can you guys buy a table and come? Like they're not going to spend
Right.
money. They're just there to, but if it's people who are passionate about what you're doing
They're
through
they're they're tied to your mission, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's something that I have learned just through this position is like, yeah, they like that makes total sense. If they're passionate about what you're doing and it's not just some I won't like name drop, but like it's a sponsor that buys a table and they just give their employees, again,
Yeah.
that's helpful because you got a sponsorship out of it and you are sharing your mission with more people. But at a fundraiser, you need the people there that are going to be excited to spend. And so, breaking out of the like just like everybody, anyone can come, really like
Right.
anyone be here and come, but having your targeted folks super helpful. And so that's a development team, that's a volunteer team. You're having your volunteers come. Your resources are a great resource as well, folks that are
Yeah.
already part of your mission that way. I would say that was a huge part of like breaking out of the silos. And then just doing something different than we hadn't done before. And it's scary and you're really worried you're going to fail. You're worried no one's going to buy your stuff, people aren't going to show up. The people that, we've now paid for food for are not going to be like
Yeah.
it's scary and it's expensive. It's an expensive, scary thing to do. Um, and if you fail, you fail. Like I think that was kind of our mindset was like, well, this could not go well. Like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we don't
No.
know. It could go
Right.
super good.
It, and it sounds like it did. I mean, 221%. Why not? I know
Huge.
you also mentioned, in talking with me about like also thinking about the marketing ask up front, right? Like developing it all at once. Can you talk through that a little bit, like the social and kind of the strategy?
Yeah. So one thing that we did was we deviated a little bit from habitat branding as far as like we didn't use our turquoise and lime green for every single thing. This was its own special branded event. So it's currently we hosted at this beautiful barn. Out here we have barns out the wazoo for event spaces. And we created this beautiful black and gold and not too formal, again, cowboy country. So elegant enough that it's like this isn't just a backyard barbecue event. And yeah, just really hitting the like social media. I come from an event background and it's all about collaboration. And so anytime I love social media and I know a lot about socials, anytime you can collaborate with someone, even if it's just like a check out what this person has, we did a lot of that for our campaign of like, look who our MC is going to be. Look who, like we had a local, one of our news station presenters, like he was our MC. He's going to do it again this year. He enjoyed it so much. And
Yeah.
Cody Dawson is like a huge our auctioneer. He's like a huge like well-known auctioneer. And so being like Cody's gonna be here, like you know how exciting he is. We're gonna have food from these folks. And so kind of creating a little bit more brand awareness for Build With Us on top of Habitat
Yep. Like
was
the cross promotion, right? Having
totally.
Cody promote the food and not only that, the tickets and yeah,
Oh yeah, because
yeah,
yeah, and that was anyone that was kind of participating in the event, they were excited to be like, hey, we're doing this, like come try this at this event, or I donated a cake, like can't wait to see how much money it brings in, and like being able to share that at the end. So
yeah,
anytime, yeah, you can, we all have tiers for like what folks get for sponsoring, but I'm just such a believer of like if you give just a little bit more, they're gonna be like a little bit more excited to participate in that.
perfect. Well, I know I'm gonna keep going through.
Yep.
It's such a good conversation and everything. Let's see, what challenges came up when you tried to bring those teams together, and how did you overcome?
Um,
Actually I think I skipped a question.
oh,
Let me,
okay.
let me go back. Let me go back. You said one of your biggest. No, that's the question I read. Sorry. See, I'm
You're
writing.
good.
Yep. So, what challenges came up when you tried to bring those teams together, and how did you overcome them?
Ooh, I think a lot of it is time, and I think everybody can like understand that. And um, we're still rebuilding post COVID. It just feels like we're really getting like our staff has changed, our CEO has changed, and it just I'm so proud of what we did as a team, the hurdles that we kind of overcame. Again, three of us pulled off three three plus some help, like pulled off this on top of doing our full-time jobs. And um yeah,
Yeah.
there's the challenges are always going to be there. They're just that's just how.
Yeah, that's part of events and fundraising, right? You got to do
Yeah.
it. Um,
And so time was a huge challenge.
time.
Finding time, volunteers, guiding people through. Again, we had great help soliciting auction items. It'll be even better this year. And rebuilding the wheel is difficult, but
Yeah,
once you've built it, you can keep it going for
keep
years to
going.
come.
That's right. That's right. And then for affiliates with lean teams, which is pretty much everybody, what's one small but impactful step they can take to start working more collaboratively across roles? What did you guys see?
Yeah, what I really loved was so Dawn kind of led the charge, and it's all about spreadsheets and timelines and when things are due, and holding each other accountable in a like kind and compassionate way. And um just like asking like, do you need, like, I have an extra 10 minutes. What can I help with
Yeah.
right
So
now? Or
diving in when you have free time. I think you also mentioned something about like setting weekly meetings.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, Dawn was it was so helpful to just continuously have a running chart of things that were getting done, have a running timeline. We use SharePoint for all of our like documents. And so being able to just pop in there and be like, okay, what's on my list that I need to get done? What's a couple of easy wins that I can get for next week? And what's something that I need to like really like work on that's due by this date? And then creating just like your overall campaign as far as like in December, this is when tickets are on sale. This is when we start like teasing out what's coming. January, that's when we're really hitting our sponsors like
Yeah.
and so knowing like when you're going to call people and what that timeline looks like ahead of time is really helpful. Calendaring all that out. So even next year, if your event shifts a week or two, you can just pop those
Love it.
dates in
Oh
and
yes.
yeah,
That
huge.
definitely comes with your wedding background. I know, yeah.
Timelines.
I also thought it was great that you had people just basically you had a running list and people could go in and grab a task too, right? So like
Yep.
if someone's interest was more this, they could go in and just grab that and get it done. I think
Yep.
that's really important.
Yep.
Now we're going to switch to strategies, tools, and execute. Wow, I can't talk today. Execution of the event.
Yeah.
Coordinating volunteers, donor outreach, and marketing all at once can feel overwhelming, right? How do you stay organized? We kind of talked through it, experiences and jumping in and uh, paper trails. Is there anything else that you wanted to share? We're kind of answering our questions as we go.
Yeah. So Give Effect was super helpful for like volunteer shifts. So that was another thing that we built out in our spreadsheets of like, okay, what's happening? What can staff members do? I mean, ideally your staff is mingling with your sponsors and making sure that the vendors are doing what they need to be doing. But yeah, the big thing was Give Effect creating being able to create volunteer shifts, and they could be 30-minute shifts, they could be 4-hour shifts, they could be whatever you needed to be,
Okay.
but being able to set all those up ahead of time. And the best part is I can duplicate my campaign for this year and just make my edits really fast.
Oh, I do it the same. So I use Give Effect for my nonprofit as well, and I love it. I just rinse and repeat it and update the dates.
Oh, so yeah, that part of it is really, really easy. Yes.
Yeah, that's great. I think that kind of keeping everybody organized and volunteer shifts. I mean, that brings back a point too of like making sure that you really have volunteers so your team can do the networking part, right?
Yeah.
The actual part of talking.
Yeah. Your
Um,
guests. They're your guests. That's
they're your
like
guests. That's
they're
right.
here for your party, you know. That's kind of, and like we're hosting these folks. We want to make a good impression, and they want to know your team too.
Yeah. So, kind of getting into the technology, you kind of talked about Give Effect, but technology can help ease some of that burden, right, from event planning. Where were there particular tools, including Give Effect, that help streamline the details and keeping your team aligned? I know you talked a little bit about tickets and that type of stuff.
Yeah, so give effect immeasurable help. I mean, we from auction to ticketing to we're now using their email campaigns. We weren't in previously, but super helpful because you can really track what people are looking at. And we were using Constant Contact, and Give Effect is 1,000 times easier to use for us. So I'm excited to see what that looks like this year. But really being able to literally click on the campaign and find all of your information in there, who's coming, who you can make a seating chart. You can, there's so many things that you can do with it. It really is like event planning software, to be honest. I mean, I think it does everything except make your branded event stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah. And I know you also mentioned Canva. Do we have to give Canva a shout out,
yeah,
right?
Canva is my most well used tool. But yeah, I mean spreadsheets and timelines, and you can, I mean, I know some people love AI, some people don't. I mean, there's so many like ways that you can create your own timeline without having to start from scratch and just piece things through. And really having a timeline and a checklist beforehand is just really, really helpful
I,
for
I would
everybody. Because
I would
then, because
agree. Yeah.
yeah,
Organized.
everybody's asking questions about it outside of just your staff. And even if your staff, like there were times all of us were like, I have no idea what day it even is, like what. So finding that is helpful.
Perfect. Okay, so now we're going to move to lessons and looking ahead, right? So lessons learned. We have 2 minutes left before we
Okay.
actually jump into the Q&A. So just a reminder, if you've got questions, use the Q&A box icon at the bottom of your Zoom and just throw those questions in there, and then we'll get to those in about 2 minutes. Um, so we're going to look ahead. So every campaign teaches you something, right? I think you should really always, every event you do, you should look at and say, what can I do better? What's one thing that you thought of wanting to do better for next year?
Um, I think that we will be focusing harder on volunteers. So we had some really key volunteers that were helpful. It was a space that we hadn't used before, and so now that we know the space, we know like run of show. It just a lot of learning curves, and so really having specifics for volunteers this time will be really helpful, and not relying just like on a single group of people, like really branching out and advertising early on of like, this is what we're doing. Can you come for an hour? You want to be there the whole time? We'll feed you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Thinking it through from a post and being able to outreach. And I know you said like previously talking like having the email communication set up in Give Effect too, just being able to reach out to your volunteers.
Yep,
That's important.
huge.
On the flip side, what's one thing you'd absolutely repeat because it works so well? I know you touched on it at the very beginning, but just in case.
Our auctioneer, I can't I really Cody was worth every penny that we paid him, and I'm happy to share his information. Again, I know he travels. I've seen him go to Texas and Nashville for these things. So he is worth every dollar that we paid him, and without a doubt our whole team at the end was like, "Oh, we're bringing him back." That's not an option. And I will say he threw in like a he had us change our timeline. We were set on like this is how a fundraiser is run. He's like, "No, we're going to do this part before we do dinner. We're going to do like this is more exciting." And we were like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah,
So he
okay.
really and he was right. We raised more money, I think, doing it the way that he had suggested. And so I just think listen to the folks that maybe have a little more education on it, that and
That do it
just
every day and
trust.
see
And
it. Yeah, exactly.
if it fails, you do it again next year in a different
That's right.
way.
Okay, before we hop into the Q&A, the last one I think is a great question too. The summit is all about what's next. So, what's next for Habitat San Luis Obispo? And what do you hope other affiliates take away from your experience?
Yeah, I think so. Our home preservation, we just kind of relaunched that. We were really focused, again, small team, really focused on finishing up our 9 house build. We hadn't built in, I don't even remember how many years, a long time. It's very expensive here in California and particularly in our area. Very, very expensive to build, and land is hard to find. And so home preservation, huge. We have a very large population of elderly folks, and disabled veterans, things like that here. And so really focusing on that while we wait for our next build to come through. And we're all very excited that that has relaunched. We've had quite a few inquiries, so very excited to share about that. And um, what was your other part of your question, Leah?
Oh, just the key takeaways for what's coming up
Hmm.
next. So I think you've trying to look through it and see. Oh, something about you talked about like the restore too as well.
Yeah, we have two restores. We have one in San Luis Obispo, one in Paso Robles, and our team is just crushing it. We're really, I know a lot of folks just run fully on donated items from like partner companies, and we're really trying to get more and more corporate donors, and we're getting there. So that's exciting. We get a Lowe's distribution once a week. We have some door companies that donate, and so your restore is really a great resource to.
It was about the remaker space.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
remake.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'll take like 1 minute for that.
Okay.
We have in our San Luis Obispo store, we have a small back little warehouse that has typically been used for storage or extra, like if we get a ton of lights or something donated, things go back there. Well, there's one spot in particular, and we were like, we kind of had a passion for like, this should be a workshop. Like people could come in here and use it. And so we have one of our volunteers has turned into a donor, Steve Urbani, and our San Luis Obispo Rotary Club, they each donated $1,000. And so we are making this space into a workshop for folks to be able to come in and use our tools, use our space, redo furniture. They don't,
Oh,
yeah, they can buy it from the floor. We'll have products they can buy. If they want to
ooh.
use power tools, they just have to become a Habitat competent person. They can be in there and redoing furniture, and they can take it home. They don't have to give it back to us. But I think ideally, eventually volunteers will use that space for that. So we're
Oh,
really
that's
excited.
neat. Okay,
Yeah.
that's I'm coming. I'm coming. I
Yeah.
love to do little projects,
Yeah,
right?
well, and not everyone has a garage or a space to do that, and tools are really expensive. And so we just wanted to create a little more equity for folks to be able to, save something from the landfill or make something pretty or, repaint that
Yeah.
mirror.
Oh,
So,
that's so neat. Oh,
yeah.
I love it. I love it. So thank you so much, Colleen. I think this was incredibly insightful for me. I always love learning. Now let's open it up. We want what questions do you have for Colleen about running campaigns, aligning teams, or using tools to stay organized? I'll give you guys a few seconds. There's already a couple questions, not seconds. You can have as long as you want asking questions, but I've got a couple in the queue here, so I'm gonna throw them at you, Colleen.
Okay.
And let's see. So, did you utilize contact group tags when folks registered and give effect for future tracking, like making invitations for next year and sorting that data? And how would you,
Great.
and how would, I'll wait for the second part. Yeah.
Okay, great question. We did not segment those because we weren't using Give Effect yet.
Oh, that's right. The
However,
email part. Yeah.
yeah, however, we have started doing that because I think with the tier we're in for Habitat, we get international donors, but we can't solicit them specifically for asks. And so we are starting to utilize our tags more. I have tags for other volunteer groups, but that is something we will definitely be doing as far as like, 2026 build
Yeah.
with us guest,
Well,
things like that.
I'd also recommend, you know, talking to your client success manager too, if it's something you want to go back and retro look at, like if they were auctioneers, right, and you wanted to tag them. I mean, that's pretty easy to see that they bought stuff in the
Hmm.
system, but for my group sponsors, right? So I like to tag, I'm a big tagger. So if they sponsored the previous year at my chili cook-off, I tag them as sponsor 2024 chili cook-off.
Love
So
it.
it's really easy to have your dedicated client success manager also help train you on that too.
Cool.
How would you advise keeping data organized in a platform like Give Effect? I think you touched on that one a little bit too, of like how it's kind of coordinated in the actual settings, but anything else you wanted to kind of
Yeah, I think tags are a huge one. I think specifically, like I was thinking about like our homeowners and like how like we had specific tags for like this is the neighborhood, these are the folks that own in this neighborhood. And I mean you can just get, so we have court appointed volunteers, so like they're tagged in like specific tags that way. So I think yeah, tagging is huge. Um, going that route is the best.
Oh, for sure. Okay, let's see. We've got another question here. Does GiveEffect have an integrated online form or event management modules? Does the online form module have a limitation on the number of forms? I think that's more of a my question, but did you guys use any type of custom forms or online forms for your event?
We did. There's a tons of ways you can do forms. You know, there's waivers, there's yeah, all sorts of things. But we did we asked if they needed handicap accessible parking. We asked if they had dietary restrictions, and there was one other thing that we asked. Oh, I think there was something about like, are you bring who is your guest? Just so we made sure like everyone that bought their ticket at this, if they didn't buy them at the same time, we could make sure that so they were sitting next to each other. And so, but there was one other thing. But you can ask, I mean, you can ask all sorts of questions when they buy their tickets. You can send out like a survey type thing beforehand as well.
Did you guys, this is a me question now. Now I'm curious. Did you guys use the Event Buddy check-in?
We did, yes.
Okay.
We had a couple of hiccups on it, but I think it was more um, someone had registered in the system with a different name or email, and it didn't like that. And so we had like a backup plan, and we'll always have a backup plan just because technology is just not 100% every single time. But
You always, yeah. What happens if the Wi-Fi doesn't work? I mean, you
totally,
never know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Uh,
we got it figured out, and like after the event, and luckily or unluckily it was two of our board members. And so they went with they were totally chill about it, but we were like, "Oh God, it's our board."
the one thing I really like about I haven't done like a seated dinner for my nonprofit, but like you can have your table assignments or you can have their auction bidder number. That's one of the new feature updates on Event Buddy,
Ooh,
but I don't know if you've seen that. Probably
I
not
have
yet.
not.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's
I'm
yeah,
sure.
we'll play with that for sure.
Um, Perfect. The next one, do you have any? I think this is a great one. This is from Anne Marie. Do you have any suggestions on different avenues outside of the usual to obtain new sponsors?
Yeah, so we just had a staff retreat, and we have a giant Google Doc, and specifically Google Doc so we can share it out of like pretty much every business in SLO County, or potentially every business, hopefully. And we talked about like what are ways that we can reach more of these folks and share a mission. And Dawn and I both have this thought of like, it is all about relationships. We are salespeople for Habitat. That's like really what it comes down to. And sales are about relationships and trust. And so how can we find these people that are part of these companies? It's going to your LinkedIn. Who's following your LinkedIn? What businesses or folks that are a part of businesses that are in LinkedIn that are already looking at you? That's a hot lead.
Oh, yeah,
Someone's
yeah,
already looking at
exactly.
you. They already see what you're doing. So go in there, doing like an Instagram audit. Who's follow
Ooh,
I mean
okay.
any of your socials. And that does take time, and that could be a volunteer task. But with the Google Doc thing that we have, we are going to be sending that out to our staff. We're going to be sending that out to volunteers. folks that maybe we have other relationships with and saying, do you know anyone that's part of these companies? Like, do you know even an employee that works there that you could introduce us to? And
Yeah.
because it is, and again, I don't know if it's just the market that we're in, but our town is so small. It's still pretty large, but it's a small town vibes, and it's really all about who you know. And so I really recommend. I'm very excited to do a like LinkedIn audit to see who is looking at us and who maybe wants to play with us. I think that's a big one.
Oh, for sure. I mean, wow. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I love all those, the tidbits on Instagram and LinkedIn. I know for my team, for my nonprofit, I used AI because I woke up one night and couldn't go back to sleep. And I went into my free chat GBT and said, list sponsors or potential sponsors in my area. I'm in Georgia, that have given to in my, habitat interest. And chat gpt can be your friend, right? Because you're not giving any personal information, you're just saying in this space or this
Hmm.
sector, give me some ideas, and it spit out all the names and contacts. I did the same thing for MCs. I need an
Hmm.
MC for my event. So yeah, I thought I'd share my thoughts too.
That's a great one. That was super helpful.
um, I've got another good question here. um, how do you engage your board in assisting with the event too as well?
Um, I will say, um, our board is not as active as we would love for them to be, and I think that I probably speak for a lot of nonprofits, maybe not just habitats, but a lot. Um, I think finding folks that are excited, like it just seems like we have the same two or three folks every time that are always participating, which is I don't want to use the term of like, oh, we're all family here, because that's not true. We're coworkers and you're our board. And but getting support from them, like we had one board member that was there like wiping off chairs before the event, and like really she picked up lunch for us, and like just finding those folks and really making sure, just being so gracious that I
Mhm.
mean they're volunteering their time to be there to serve at
I
least on our
I
board.
I'd also like to say too, like finding your board's interests, right? Like one of my board members, she makes brownies. So for every board meeting, she brings in brownies. So, our launch meeting that we had or event that we had, she'll bring brownies for people, like just finding the little pieces that they might be able to help out with if they're not like
Hmm.
super engaged.
Yep.
Which does bring me good to another question. Um, so this habitat is a smaller habitat, right? And they have challenges in finding volunteers. Um, would love to know your approach. How did you find volunteers since you kind of were mentioned being in a small area as well?
It's hard. We struggle with that too. And I think thinking outside of the box, what groups are around, Rotary, um, I mean, something we haven't done, but I'm like the Moose Lodge, the Elks, like places where retired folks are hanging out that uh, for me in the Restore specifically, I think I try to tell everyone it does not matter your ability. If you want to sit in a chair and greet people that come in the store, that is one less thing our staff has to do. So, because I'll have like a lot of older folks like, oh, I can't like be on my feet a lot. I'm like, hey, if you want to be here for an hour and sit at the front door and thank people for coming in, that is super helpful. So, also not maybe having the exact same jobs every single time. Like we have some admin roles that we would love to fill. And so not everybody wants to be getting dirty in the restore. And that's kind of what we have available right now while we're figuring out home preservation. Our build isn't going on. What are people like to do? Do they want to sit there and shred? Maybe they legitimately like that would tickle a part of my brain that would be I could sit there for an hour and shred. No issue.
For sure.
Yeah, and so just finding out what they want to do and creating a job for them. Like that's one thing is like you don't have to be in construction, you don't have to deal with donors. Do you want to just help us make phone calls? Do you want to help
Yeah.
us? I mean, there's just so
Right.
many things. And so finding a group of people, even if it's high schoolers need things. We've recently started doing court appointed volunteer hours, and I know
Yep.
that that's a higher turnover rate. However, 20 hours of help is immeasurable. Well, it is
Yeah,
measurable in
for sure.
$33 an hour, but
Well,
you
I
know.
think for my nonprofit, I know this is more, habitat, but um, we've been really successful in reaching out to high school clubs because every high school has clubs, right?
Mhm.
And some, they might not be, habitat specific, but there's all different types of groups that you can connect with. Or like I did a garden club, right? Connecting with just any type of that wasn't high school. That was a grown adult, garden club. But I think it's just thinking outside of the box, posting on Nextdoor, right? And thinking of different avenues that you might be able to reach
Yeah.
different groups.
Facebook groups is another huge one. I will post a lot from my personal thing because again, I think it's about relationships and building a trust between people to be like, hey, this is what I'm part of. You should come be part of this. That's not for everybody, but that is what I tend to do. And every once in a while, someone's posting like, I am looking for volunteer work. I'm like, oh, come with us. Like we've got.
Come on.
I have a plethora of things. What do you want to do? We can make a task for you.
Yeah. I've got, okay, I think I've got one more question. Well, no, there's two more questions.
Okay.
This one should be easy. Was there a cost to use the space for your event?
No, we were very lucky, and the space was donated. And if you can find that, obviously you're going to do whatever you can to get that space, because it is costly. I mean, in here, event spaces can be 5 to 20 grand to rent. Oh, it's yeah.
Yikes.
This is a destination wedding area, and
Oh.
so doesn't matter if you've got a dilapidated barn or you've got a ballroom.
Yeah.
You're no less than five. So, yeah, if I mean, even if you have to trade the presenting sponsorship for a free space, like I'm going to plaster your name on our website. It's going to be on our Give Effect page. It's going to
Yeah.
be like every email that goes out is going to say,
Mhm.
build with us 2026, sponsored by the Hyatt at
Yeah, for sure.
El Camino Real, whatever it is. They're gonna getting their names out and promising them stuff is
Oh, I
cool.
I think that's definitely a good idea there to be creative on the fly about it. Okay, I'm gonna scroll through the other chats and see if there's any, but the one I'll ask you while I look through is, do you find that volunteer groups, I think that's more groups, right? So are aging out and like the next generation doesn't want to volunteer in groups or just individuals? What have you seen?
I would argue actually that there's a gap in between. So I have a lot of older folks and I have a lot of younger folks. I don't have a lot of like 30 to 50, 60-year olds that are volunteering. And I'm sure part of that is they're working full time and raising families, etc. But like there's just not a lot of participation among those groups. It's definitely more of a retired crowd and a college crowd. We do live in a college area. We have Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and we have a great junior college, Cuesta College as well. And so we do have a pretty good connection with those. Something I do want to encourage you to look at if you do have a college nearby, we just recently signed up for College Corps. And so we actually have 4 volunteers that come, they're paid through College Corps, but they come 15 hours. Each of them have to be with Habitat 15 hours a week. So some of them are in the restore for half that time. Eventually, they'll help with some admin work, they kind of get to learn how a nonprofit works. But I would highly recommend if you have a college in your town, see if they have College Corps. Obviously, it won't happen this year, but next year, because it's 10 months that they're with us. Maybe it's 8 months. It's 8 or 10 months, but it's a long,
That's a long, no, that's committed. That's a committed
that's a
time.
long
Yeah.
time to have, yeah, for a volunteer. And again, I would say like find find those groups. It could be the at the senior club. It could be, I mean, Google clubs near you. Google,
Yeah.
just social clubs. It doesn't have to be, could be an archery club. Maybe they want to come out and do home preservation. Like everyone's looking for something. How can you engage a different group of people?
I mean, I agree. I totally agree with that. Okay. for real this last one. And then I'll kind of wrap up and kind of talk through some things. Um, Tell me about your call to give, right? Call to action
Mm.
for your event. How did you make the appeal? Was it like via video on, socials, or was it homeowner videos where they give a pitch? And
Yeah.
how successful was that call?
Yeah, so our program, I was very successful. I will say, if you have a build going on, Dawn was so smart about this, and I just like praise her for what she did. She hired someone from like tossing the dirt with the shovels all the way till the very end, a videographer and photographer. It's expensive. However, you will not have a accurate story to tell if you do not have that. And I'm happy to share the video we have. It's on our YouTube. It
Okay.
is so freaking powerful. I still cry every time I watch this video because there's videos of our homeowners talking about what it means to them to have a home. There's a dad talking about how he didn't have his own room growing up and his son's gonna have his own room. And like while we watch that film, like I get choked up talking about it. Like
Yeah.
he like
Yeah. I'm like,
he's
wait, hold on. Yeah.
yeah, he's like on site in his construction outfit building this house for his family, and he's getting choked up about it. There's a girl who talks about a woman talking about how she never had a stable home growing up, and now her kids are going to have that. And
Wow.
it's so moving, and
Yeah.
it's really tough. Yeah, Dawn, yeah, I cry every time. Yeah, we cry.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally is so powerful. And so finding that videographer that understands what you're trying to do and telling your story, because it's from start to finish what we're doing. And then it talks a little bit about other little programs that we have, but it really talks about how powerful it is
Yeah.
and what it means to own
I
a
meit's
home.
back to your mission, right? It's
It's
driving
huge.
the core of what you do. Yeah.
Yeah. And then our child of one of the homeowners, having him speak and just share his experience because he was there too, putting in
Yeah.
sweat equity for his
Yeah.
family. And he talks about what it means to see his little brother have his own room and how happy, like, can you imagine like a 16-year-old being happy that his like understanding like what that means for his
Selfless.
brother?
Yes.
Yeah, like to
Selfless.
have
Yeah.
have his own space. And so it's um having those discussions too with your homeowners of like they're also part of the sales process for Habitat. Like
Wow. Yeah.
really we're all partners in this and like how can we also help another family become what your family has? Like we have to partner with you. So
Now, does that videographer travel too? The
I bet you he
videographer?
would. Brian, he's a newlywed though, so we'll have to see what when he'd be able to. Yes, I can totally drop our YouTube link in here for you.
Yeah. I mean, to me, having the resources, like you said, the videographer, I know for my nonprofit, I mean, now it's not as probably as elevated, but we actually reached out to again another high school and had a club that was a video club, and they came
Mm-hmm.
out and they had their video cameras and they had photographers. There's three or four of them at our event, and it was free because they're high school
Mm-hmm.
kids. Is it the best quality? No, but it's good if you don't have
Yeah,
the budget, right, for it.
totally.
Um, okay, perfect. Colleen, you dropped that in.
Yeah.
And I just want to say thank you for joining us and being the spokesperson for your habitat, but also just being able to help other habitat affiliates, and we appreciate it so much. And my colleague Tara is going to join us to share a few announcements. So if you'll stick with us, we'll get Tara joining us here. But Colleen, thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Please don't hesitate to reach out, email me, LinkedIn, whatever. I we're better when we work together, so please don't hesitate to reach out.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. And wow, what an amazing session we just had. So, I just wanted to first quickly thank Colleen and Leah for leading this session, and especially Colleen for sharing your insights. I hope everyone found quite a bit of value in it. So like Leah said, my name is Tara. I am the Director of Marketing and Communications at Give Effect. And before we break, I just wanted to remind everyone about a couple announcements I made yesterday, as well as a couple of updates. So two of the announcements I had made yesterday is that Give Effect almost never runs promotions. But we have decided that for the Habitat Next community, we're going to be offering complimentary data migration and $2,000 off any subscription level for your first year with Give Effect. So I have to say, I just want to emphasize again, we almost never have any kind of promotion at all, let alone like this. So if you are considering switching over to Give Effect or adopting nonprofit technology even for the first time, now would be a very good time to book that call and learn more. Um, Additionally, we are actually doing a fun coffee giveaway so that 10 of you can have coffee on us with a $10 Starbucks gift card. Yesterday we gave away five, and today we'll give away five more. So, to enter this giveaway, simply follow Give Effect on LinkedIn and comment on any of our September posts, tagging Give Effect by using @GiveEffect and sharing one thing you hope to learn or have learned so far at Next. The winners will be selected at random and announced during today's networking session. One thing that's new that I didn't share yesterday that I am sharing today is a little bit about our impact circle. So, if you are already a Give Effect client, you probably already are aware of this. It's a new-ish program, and it is our referral program. And so, just to share a little bit about how it works, is if you refer a nonprofit that becomes a Give Effect client, both of you win. For Habitat affiliates, if you refer another Habitat affiliate, you receive a $1,250 credit when that um, new customer of ours chooses Ultimate or Ultimate Light. There's a little bit of a difference in what you receive, so just take a look at this slide here. We'll also email details, so not to worry. And then also for non-Habitat nonprofits. So if you as a Habitat affiliate refer a non-Habitat affiliate, there's still a really great um, treat that you get, for lack of a better word. So, to participate, simply share our referral booking page, which is at the QR code on the screen, and we'll be sure to share all this information with you afterwards so that you have it in email and it is easy to reference. Um, Lastly, I just wanted to note that we have extended today's networking session to 1 hour after we received requests from several of the attendees who joined yesterday's networking. There were so many great conversations that when we were about to end it, everyone was like, wait a minute, can we talk a little bit longer? So today we did extend it to an hour, but we encourage you to join, and please feel free to stay as long as you would like, or if you have a conflict, you can drop off at any point. But it was just so wonderful to see different affiliates connecting with each other, exchanging information, and having really nice conversations. So thank you again, Colleen and Leah. We will now take a 10-minute break, and we will see you at our
Oh,
volunteer management and engagement panelists coming up at 1:10. And Leah, looks like you have
yeah,
something
I
to
just wanted to say, make sure to check out our Habitat Next Technology Spotlight tomorrow. So if you haven't signed up for it yet, I'll be walking you guys through me again, yeah, through some demos, demo of Give Effect, and I'll pull in Colleen's, campaign so we can look at it so you can actually see what it looked like on top of the video that she shared as well.
Thanks
So,
so much for reminding everyone about that. And yes, definitely a not to be missed session. So everyone take a nice little break, go to the bathroom, grab a drink, and we'll see you very soon.
thank you, Colleen.
My
Bye.
pleasure. Thank you.